Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Y'all ready to hear some good news? Trump is on patrol. I'm serious, folks. Trump is with the National Guard, the Washington, D.C. police, and several other ICE and several other entities, including a lot of his executive branch, having a great conversation. Just thanking everybody. Going to share burgers with everybody, and just thanking all the first responders for what they've done over the last 5 days to clean up Washington, D.C. While the left sneers about it, cries about it, and doesn't want their city to be crime-free because Trump's the one doing it. Such a crazy situation, but we all know how the left acts. If you haven't heard the song "The Devil is a Democrat" by Tom MacDonald, you may want to go check it out. It may not be your slice of music, but the lyrics are great because they're so accurate and true. Not to veer off the subject, but the Democrats at this point are in retreat. They have nothing to stand for. They are defending the criminals and the illegals. They are defending the worst of the worst. And I don't know if the devil is a Democrat or not, but I do know that these evil people in Washington that are running the Democrat Party and in several states, some of these Secretary of States and governors and stuff, are just plain tyrants. Evil people that are more about greed and power than they are about the welfare of their fellow man. They got in the business supposedly to help people, and it looks like they're just the opposite of that. And there is a bunch of them peppered out throughout the United States, and a lot of political offices need to be voted out, fired, or one way or another taken to jail for their criminality. And we all know this, and we're all waiting for the handcuffs to click on a few of these suckers, including Adam Schiff, which we do have a story about today. There's several things going on with Adam Schiff and Letitia James because their mortgage fraud cases are not going to go away. They are going to jail, both of them, behind the mortgage fraud. Just like they tried to throw Trump in jail over it. Didn't happen. Well, I think they're going to get their turn, and because they're the actual criminals in the situation, they're going to go to jail. And speaking about mortgage fraud, Trump got a wonderful win today involving all that money he had to put up, involving a fine dealing with Letitia James. And we'll get into that directly, so let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of Trump before I get a copyright issue.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?
I love it. That's funny stuff right there, folks. Alright, let's get into some news. Says earlier, in a huge blow to Letitia James and Biden's prosecutors, a New York appeals court threw out the massive civil fraud penalty against President Trump on Thursday. New York Attorney General Letitia James lashed out at the New York appeals court that threw out the $515 million judgment against Trump. James said she is going to appeal the decision so she can continue to go after Trump. Of course she did. The first department today affirmed the well-supported findings of the trial court. Donald Trump, his company, and his two children were still liable for fraud, Letitia James says. The court upheld the injunction relief we won, limiting Donald Trump and the Trump Organization officers' ability to do business in New York. It should not be lost to history. Yet another court has ruled that the president violated the law and that our case has merit, she wrote. So she's still trying to say Trump's guilty of something. Well, we will seek appeal to the court and blah, blah, blah. Yep, she's going to try to appeal it so Trump can't get his money back. What the remedy of the case is $500 million is excessive in penalties. It was $370 million for damages, and then there was some kind of fines and penalties that were also added to that. Brought the total up with interest and all up to almost $500 billion, folks, or $500 million, should I say? Trump getting his money back. That's what I see, and she ain't happy about it. She got egg on her face. She needs to be more worried about her up-and-coming lawsuit. She needs to do what Adam Schiff's doing, hire legal counsel. Now, speaking about Adam Schiff bag, he started a legal defense fund today actually it was yesterday, for his incoming mortgage fraud indictment. Accuses Trump administration of weaponizing justice. Federal Housing Director Bill Pulte responds with a video. All right, let's watch the video, folks. Let's see what has to be said about Adam Schiff today. I hear my phone ringing in the other room. We're not going to answer it. We're doing a video right now, folks. You'll have to get over it.
To play the victim, then pass the tin cup for help? In the face of allegations, documentary allegations, that the man supposedly as sophisticated as he is lied on his mortgage application to what, get more favorable loan terms? Look, this is not just hypocrisy. It could be poetic justice. Here to discuss is Bill Pulte, U.S. Federal Housing Director. Director Pulte, thank you for joining us tonight. Now, reading between the lines of what Schiff and his cronies and friends are saying is essentially that you, wanting to get in Trump's good graces, went on a fishing expedition for these mortgage documents, and it's all political retribution, pure and simple. And to that you say?
Well, it's nonsense. I'm a politician. I'm in the business of mortgages and housing, and when I see mortgage fraud, I report it. I mean, that's what I was hired to do. I swore in my testimony well before I even knew about the Schiff situation that I would root out mortgage fraud, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm not going to be intimidated by the media, who is now coming up with these crazy hit pieces, or politicians like Adam Schiff and his lawyers who are trying to attack me. I'm a regulator, and I'm the conservator on behalf of President Trump, under President Trump's leadership. And in President Trump's America, we're not going to have mortgage fraud. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you do mortgage fraud, we're going to come after you.
Well, it seems like this is a contagious disease, okay? Because
that's the right answer.
Now the Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook, is under pressure to resign due to allegations that she may have engaged in mortgage fraud. Bill, tell us about this. I mean, someone who has a say in the Fed rate and what that's doing to mortgages across the country. I mean, this is crazy stuff. She could be potentially abusing the system again. No one's guilty until proven.
Laura, I'll tell you, she has a very big problem. She has a situation where she claimed primary residency on a condo that she bought in Atlanta. I mean, this is supposed to be somebody who's entrusted with the public good, who's supposed to be looking after interest rates. And I believe it's blatant and massive mortgage fraud. I believe that there will be a criminal investigation. I'll leave that to the DOJ whether they do that or not. But I would anticipate seeing her be prosecuted and criminally charged for mortgage fraud. Just based on what I've seen. You know, I refer people every day to the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice prosecutes cases like this all the time, Laura, and whether it's the Schiff case or the Letitia James case or this case or all the other cases that we refer, this Cook one is not going away, and she can laugh all she wants, but the law will catch up with her.
I'm just curious, now that they're actually looking into mortgage fraud with these politicians that have umpteen houses in several states, and they all claim residence on all of them to get a cheaper rate. I wonder how many of the, 430-something House of Representatives and 100 senators, I wonder out of those 537 people, I wonder how many of them are guilty of this very same crime. That's actually a good question. They should actually look at every one of them and say, look, we know you own several houses. Let's look at your policy agreement. You're signing off on your mortgage, your loan status, paperwork, documentation. I bet a lot of them do this. I believe this is just one of the many perks that they are able to get away with because they're politicians. And we're starting to find out at this point, at least some Democrats are guilty of this. And like he said, Democrat or Republican, it doesn't matter. If we find out you are lying, cheating, and stealing, you're going to jail. You're going to be prosecuted. We're going to give you a call, subpoena you, whatever we got to do to get you on the leash. All right, folks, let's get on to the next story. It's happening, folks. This mortgage fraud is a booger. They opened that kind of worms on Trump, and look, it is backfiring. That is great. Every time they come at Trump with something, it rolls over and falls on somebody else because they were the ones in the wrong in the beginning. Isn't that's God's work at hand in the best of ways. I love it. Some people would call it karma. I would say that's God I would say God has a sense of humor, and the millstone of justice grinds slow, but it grinds it fine when it does actually move. That's what I have to believe, and I just come off the top of my head. I think I heard it somewhere, but at any rate, Trump was delivering remarks while patrolling D.C. He was literally walking down the street, paraded by every police agency you can imagine in D.C. We'll watch a minute of it here. Okay, I don't know why it went to big screen. We'll back out of that. Bear with me, folks. This thing's spooling.
Well, I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I wanted to do this. We've had some incredible results. The results have come out, and it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the capital. It's going to be the best in the world. We're going to do what you're doing with law enforcement, and very importantly also, we're going to physically do it. We're going back to Congress for some money, and we're going to redo a lot of the pavement, a lot of the medians, a lot of the graffiti's all coming off real fast. It's going to come down real fast. We're working with Clark Construction. They're one of the big ones. They're the biggest here by far, actually. And we're going to be not so much building, it's cleaning and fixing and redoing and putting brand new surfaces down on your roads and streets. And when people come in from the airport all the way to the Capitol or the White House or any place else they go, and they're going to say, boy, this place is spotless. So we're doing that. Most importantly, though, we're going to have a crowd of people that are going to be happy. You know, I've received more phone calls from people in the last 4 days than I ever have. I've been here now 4 years plus. And by the way, I think we had about the best 7 months, they're saying, that any president's had. We've done a lot of work. We've done a lot of good work, including the biggest tax cuts that you've ever had. I know you guys don't care about taxes, so you don't care about saving a little tax, but you saved a lot of tax, actually. But we've had a great period of time. But I've never received so many phone calls thanking me for what we've done in Washington, D.C., from people that haven't gone to a restaurant literally in 4 years. And they said, you know, what you've done it's unprecedented, because what they said, it was just unsafe. We couldn't do it. We'd go out.
What Trump did was unprecedented. My question is, can we get it done in every major city to slow down the crime rate in America by 20 or 30% in a couple of months by having mobilized National Guard help hunt down these illegals, these criminals, these drug dealers? We've got to find a way to fix our country, and our crime rate is a huge part of the problem. When you don't feel safe going out to dinner, you probably live in a big city, and if that's the case, the system is broken there, and it's obvious. Trump just proved it can be fixed. So hopefully this is the blueprint for the future of America and all our crime-ridden cities that need a whole lot of help. We could actually get it done, folks. It'd be a blessing. To drop the crime rate in this country by any percentage is a blessing. I believe Trump's the one to get it done. Like I told you at the beginning of the video, Supreme Court ruled 5-4 in Trump's favor to slash the $783 million in DEI-linked NIH grants. Now, Justice Roberts sided with the liberals, with the lefties, as I call them. Breaking, SCOTUS 5-4 allow administration to proceed with termination of NIH grants under Trump's DEI gender policies, but also 5-4 vote will to leave in place ruling voiding the NIH memos enforcing the Trump policies. Roberts with libs, Barrett swings. And here's the document. So it's 5-4. Leave the ruling in place to void the NIH memos. Okay. But the money, it looks like it is stopped. Big $775 million. Says Trump administration reviewing all 55 million foreigners with U.S. work visas for possible deportable violations. And let me tell you where this started. I don't know if Gateway Pundit's going to carry it that way or not. I haven't actually looked at this article yet. I just clicked on it because I wanted to go over it. But Laura Loomer has been like a duck on a June bug, exposing criminality, exposing the way these illegal aliens are getting into this country. She's a great reporter. She's got great whistleblowers that come to her. And if you've been Loomered, you probably had a bad day. Well, Laura Loomer is the one that brought this to Marco Rubio's and Trump's attention, that we have a huge problem with the visa process. There's people that are in this country that are here on visas, or here on student grants and things from other countries. And some of these people hate our country. Some of these people are very much not trustable to be living in our country. Some of them have worn out their visa status and are hiding. There's so many different possibilities with 55 million people that have visas here, and so they're like, let's go through it. That's what I believe is going on, because Laura Loomer says, hey, look, this guy, their visas were revoked and they're still here. Nobody's been kicking them out of the country for several years. And so we literally probably have millions and millions of people that could be immediately deported, because we can find those people. We know where they work. We know where they're going to school. It says the Trump administration concerted mass deportation efforts are about to kick into another gear. As the Associated Press reported, the State Department revealed that they were putting all 55 million foreigners with visas on notice that they could be deported for violations of immigration rules. Yeah, that's going to get a bunch of them out right quick. Says in a written answer to my question posed by the Associated Press, the department said that all U.S. visa holders are subject to continuous vetting, with an eye toward any indication that they could be ineligible for the document. Should such information be found, the visas will be revoked, and the visa holder is, if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she would be subject to deportation. Catapult them over the wall. The department said it was looking for indicators of ineligibility, including visa overstays, criminal activity, threats of public safety, engaging in any form of terrorist activity. Oh, that's going to get a lot of them right there. And providing support to terrorist organizations. So if you're out there screaming in the police's face at your college campus with your jihad flag, and you're here on a student visa, and you social media post how you want to be a violent person to white people, yeah, you're probably one of those candidates that need to be deported, or at least questioned appropriately to find out what's your purpose here. All right, folks, we'll jump on to the next one. I don't want to read no more about this, but yeah, it's great. It's going to be a great thing. It's going to be another way to not just say, hey, we got to find people to round up. It's, hey, we've got a list of people that we need to scour over the list and look at every one of these people's social media presence. That would be one step. And that's what they'll do. And then they'll go, okay, where are these people working? Do they pay taxes? Do they stick out like a sore thumb with their police records since they've been in this country? See, there's no telling how many people are here on visas that are criminals. That is probably a monstrous number. Probably millions. And they could be probably deported pretty easily. Be hard to argue that one. Now this here's a good one too. It says Trump's war on the cartels. U.S. military preps for lethal strike in Mexico. I don't know why they tell us this stuff, but I heard yesterday on the radio on my way to work that they were going to be using this P-8 Poseidon, which is one of the planes they build at my job. It's a submarine sniffing spy plane that can drop all kinds of ordnance on the boats or submarines, meaning like torpedoes and things. but that's here nor there. But Trump, they were talking about all the armament that has been moving that way, ships, planes, troops. It says the Trump administration has issued a directive to the U.S. military to develop plans for lethal operations targeting Mexican drug cartels, according to an investigative journalist, Kine Klippenstein. These planes initiated the late spring of 2025 and involved Northern Command preparing strike operations by mid-September. Military sources indicate the focus is on transnational criminal organizations, particularly Sinaloa and Jalisco New Generation Cartels. Now, I heard on the radio that they were already mobilizing, so this sounds like this is down the road. Maybe they're going to. I believe that our troops are already patrolling the Gulf of America, but I believe they're starting to ramp up for an expedition. President Trump designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations early in his term, enabling broader national security responses. Meaning, we're going to go over there and clean house. They're going to go over there and smash these folks where they know where these labs are and different things. Hold on, folks. I got to grab my battery charger. Wasn't plugged in. Yeah, we're going to go over there in a month or two and wreak havoc on the facilities that are growing the drugs and the fentanyl labs and everything that we've got GPS tracking. We see where everybody comes and goes. They probably got dibs on everybody over there on the ground that's a criminal, and are watching them closely with our GPS telescopes. Now, this is a story that has always kind of broke my heart. I've only talked about it a couple of times because it's just such a horrible situation, and I don't know what to say about it. I'm talking about Tina Peters. This lady was just treated like crap for trying to be honest about what was going on in the election. And she was a county clerk, and she got put in jail behind the fact that half of the politicians in the state thought she did something wrong by exposing the voter fraud. If you don't know who Tina Peters is, I believe there's a Tina Peters fund out there. But let's go ahead and get into this a little bit. Trump calls for the release of tortured former county election clerk Tina Peters. If she is not released, I'm going to take harsh measures. Now, they've been talking about this for a while. She's been in prison for a whole minute now. Says President Trump called on the release of former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters on Thursday amid her ongoing prosecution for exposing Democrat election fraud in the state of Colorado. Remember that Jenna Griswold tried to put her ass in jail? If she's not released, I'm going to take the harsh measures, Trump said in an apparent warning shot to Democratic Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold. Peters was sentenced to 9 years in prison last October after she was accused of breaching the Mesa County election system, leaking Dominion voting machine passwords, but Peters contends that her office had the Dominion voting passwords, which is what Maricopa County successfully argued when they were subpoenaed for Dominion password during the Arizona election audit of 2021. The Soros-funded Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold is behind the politically motivated accusations. The Judge Barrett, Matthew Barrett, in the case, the trial judge in Colorado State Court, didn't simply punish her for her conduct. He explicitly cited her with ongoing political speak as justification for denying her bond and keeping her in prison. That she would admit the election was not rigged, and that's the way they wanted to spill it, and she wouldn't, and so they threw the book at her. Wouldn't even let her out on bond or anything. Now, Tina Peters' legal team has appealed the case to the federal court, challenging the First Amendment violations and asking them to decide whether Tina Peters is being unlawfully imprisoned for her political speech. Now, the Gateway Pundit has wrote many articles trying to help the J6ers and people like Tina Peters who have been unjustly crucified, prosecuted, and locked up for something that didn't seem so criminal to the most of us. And I'm just glad to put a shout out to Gateway Pundit for keeping up on the story, because the story does need to be told. For those that don't know, Tina Peters is suffering a life of incarceration for trying to stand up for what she believed in: truth and honesty in elections, election integrity. She did nothing wrong except catching the Democrats cheating in election. She's an old woman and very sick, the president said. The full statement below. Tina Peters, a brave, innocent patriot who has been tortured by crooked Colorado politicians, Trump says, including the big mail-in ballot supporting governor of the state. Let Tina Peters out of jail right now. She did nothing wrong except catching the Democrats cheat at the election. She is an old woman and very sick. If she is not released, I'm going to take harsh measures. So Trump is threatening the governor of Colorado. Give her a pardon. Do it now. No questions. Do it. We know what you did. We see y'all. They're going to have to pay for the way that Dominion's headquarters being in Colorado probably had a lot to do with the fact that she was silenced by not just the governor and the Secretary of State, but the Attorney General, the entire crooked batch in Colorado. It's a sad sight. Now, Trump met with the law enforcement officers today. I showed you a little bit of that. He went in eating said he was going to feed them all burgers and pizza. Just saying a few words to say how the city is going to be a better place because they're taking down their graffiti. They're doing something with the homeless. I guess they're moving them around, maybe putting them in shelters or whatever, figuring out accommodations for them, which they should. Figure out which ones are capable of being able to function with accommodations. Because some of them you couldn't give a home no matter what. Some people are just burn it down. But that's another story. But Trump says, we've never received so many phone calls from people just thanking me for doing the right thing here, just cleaning up the city. The city's been a pig pen for a long time, and now Daddy Trump comes in and cleans it up in a week. If we could only do this in every city, our country would be a better place immediately. It would be nice to be able to, if you live in a big city, walk out your doors at night without having to look over your shoulder, carry a gun. But I still recommend carrying a gun if you're in one of the states that allows it.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna...
I want to send that to Adam Schiff the day he gets indicted. This video right here, this little meme, should I say. AI is great that way. They're pretty good with them, getting better with the memes every day. That's what I got for you today, folks. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Feel like I'm losing my voice. Sorry if I'm a little raspy. Over and out.